Alright, so this is game number 4. I accidentally stopped the recording itself, I didn't pause it, so instead we get another video. And I don't use any editing software, so I don't really have the resources to add separate recordings and put them into a single video. So for the time being, it'll just be a separate video instead. So the last game was a PvZ with hamburgersasu on the Protoss. This time he's playing the purple Zerg. So they've swapped roles again. They're just going through all the different matchups and playing each side of either matchup to decide who the most superior player of the two is. The Terran versus Zerg wasn't really that decisive because both players won as the Terran and lost as the Zerg for pretty much the exact same reasons. kkangpae lost because he went for a strategy trying to cut corners and doing something that doesn't really work ever. Specifically not against hamburgersasu, that guy is just a monster. It doesn't work against the guy. So he lost. It's kind of a given. And in the second game, hamburgersasu did the exact same thing, you know, cutting corners, but in a different way. So yeah, the guy died, he deserved to die. And in game number 3, kkangpae again did something that isn't really that efficient as a Zerg, more than effective, and hamburgersasu just went for the Reaver push, for the Zealot Reaver push distraction while throwing in a real drop. The real drop kills all the drones, then the front goes down because there's nothing to defend the front because you can't produce anything, and then hamburgersasu just slides in, kills the drones again, and kkangpae taps out. So now game number 4. Zerg against Protoss. Blue against purple. I think they have been blue against purple before in this series as a recurring theme. Oh Jesus Christ, I hit the wrong interface. Alright, now I hit the right interface. I hope that did not spoil the game at all. Because you saw the first 2 minutes there on the recording play timer thing in the corner there. Alright, so Sasu goes for no choke. He gets his creep colony up after he throws down 3 hatcheries. This is about standard for a non-choke build. And kkangpae went for 3 barracks, 3 gateways. Then an early cannon, so he's expecting early aggression from Sasu, but Sasu is not being very aggressive early on. He's going for, well, he's making 4 Zerglings. But just those 4 Zerglings don't really pose much of a threat. They're more there to defend themselves against early Zealot aggression, like in this case. The Zealots are being aggressive. He's going to hunt this probe. That's a very nice timing. Probe just dancing around, running away from the Zealots. He gets out there. The Zerglings almost get us. Oh, the Zerglings get a surround on the probe. The probe gets out alive though. The probe manages to sneak out alive with only losing 10 HP to the Zerglings. Zerglings kind of failing at their job, but it was a really nice little micro dance that both players did there. So he gets the pylon down, sends the probe to safety because he doesn't want the probe to die. In the meantime, this Overlord spots the probe, so now Sasu knows where the probe is. Why is he sending it all the way back there? It's very far away, a lot farther away than I would have liked. But the pylon finishes. Now he's going to have to. A little bit. Actually, this gives these sunken colonies, these creep colonies, a lot of time to start finishing. So kkangpae goes in, forces hamburgersasu to be distracted. He has to throw another pylon a little bit further away. Drones get pulled out of the minerals. A bunch of drones die to the Zealots. Zealots now get pulled all the way down to the bottom side. But he makes 2 units with the larva and forces the Zealots off of the hatchery. So he goes for the drones again. Drones. About 3 more drones went down there. But this pylon here gets denied in the process. This one also gonna get denied. Unless Sasu doesn't try to deny it. He's gonna go for the probe. kkangpae realizes that his probe is being hunted, pulls his probe back to his Zealots. He tries to throw down a cannon. So he's gonna be hunting for that probe. He wants to deny that probe, to deny more cannons from being warped in. But he gets some shots on the probe, he gets surrounded on the probe dies. And kkangpae gets slowed down once again because he's got no probe to build the things inside of hamburgersasu space that he wants to build there. And just to get this out of the way, kkangpae intended to build a lot of cannons here to keep hamburgersasu small, so we can build robotic facilities behind those cannons and get a ground reaver push off on hamburgersasu. And hamburgersasu won't really be able to attack the reavers because there are cannons backing the reavers up. All kkangpae style has to do is produce a lot of zealots and then send those zealots in together with the reaver. Reaver doesn't get attacked because the zealots will get attacked and will get focus. And he can take down the sunkens. That's his plan. But his plan got denied, not once, but twice. So now he builds the robotic facility in his base. It's right over there, waiting for a signal of a dune. So he might be going for a reaver push, or going for a storm drop. I would like to see him go for a storm drop, because that just gives him an option to immediately shut down hamburgersasu very early on in the game, because he's got this signal of a dune down really early. And if you manage to get a storm drop off, you can just go for a very simple rinse and repeat zealot push without having to need reavers. Well, it's a little bit, might take a little bit longer, but it will hurt Sasu a lot more than trying to go for the reaver zealot combination on the front, because this is going to take a little bit of time, because he's going to have to finish that robotic support bay, throw down a there's robotic support bay, so he's going to have to wait for that to finish. You can make a shuttle in the meantime. It's at least going to add about a minute of time before he has a reaver out. That will give hamburgersasu the time to start making Hydralisk, because you got a Hydralisk then finished. He's making Hydralisk speed. He's going to throw down a bunch of hatcheries here too. He's got the minerals, he's got a lot of overmine, so he's going to spend that on building more hatcheries. At the same time, he can build more drones and get his economy up. He's now ahead of kkangpae in terms of how many drones and workers he has mining minerals. This is already a really good situation for hamburgersasu. kkangpae is stuck with the single nexus. Single nexus eventually gets outskilled by the drones, by the hatcheries being able to make drones. So the Zerg outskills the Protoss around this point into the game, and the Protoss has to play things very, very smartly. So as I mentioned, he now threw down more hatcheries. So he's got, once these finish, he will have 8 hatcheries extra to produce units from. He started production of his Hydralisk so he can answer, because I think he knows exactly what kkangpae is up to, because he was scouting his base with Zerglings. Zerglings died in the meantime, but he saw exactly what he was up to. So more zealots are gonna come streaming in. Weapon upgrade on the way. First reaver finishes, he's gonna pick that one up, send it over, and start the push. And hamburgersasu places his Hydralisk in a very nice position to intercept the reavers, because he knows exactly where the reaver is gonna be coming from. Right, so he drops the reaver right in the front. He starts a shot off. Sasu moves for the reaver. Sasu kills the reaver. Reaver doesn't get picked up. kkangpae once again gets slowed down with his plans. He can't execute his plan. hamburgersasu buys himself a little bit more time. And this is the moment where I believe kkangpae has to start focusing on his economy, which he is. He adds another nexus. There is a Templar's Archive, so he's going to add Templars into the mix. Another reaver is being made. He doesn't need a shuttle yet because he still has the shuttle. And I think he's going to try to repeat what he just tried. He's going to fly in a reaver. It takes another 15 seconds or something before it finishes. Right, so hamburgersasu goes for the offensive move, takes down 3 cannons before kkangpae's zealots reach his Hydralisk. He pulls back with Hydralisks. Zealots have to walk into the sunken fire range. They do some damage on the sunkens and pull back. hamburgersasu now goes in again. Attacks the cannons directly. 2 cannons go down, then again pulls back, forcing kkangpae to take damage on his zealots. He goes in again, sees the shuttle, pulls back. The shuttle pulls back, goes in again. Now the zealots are coming, so he pulls back again to his own base. Reaver gets... The zealots are fighting Hydralisk right now, and right, Reaver gets dropped, is in range of the drones, he's not in range of the drones, and it gets taken down immediately because hamburgersasu focuses down immediately. Very quick reaction from hamburgersasu. kkangpae's attack gets fought off really, really well. He did minimal damage to hamburgersasu really using his micro abilities really well, microing his Hydralisk back. Now he's going on the counter attack, killing the cannons that kkangpae constructed in hamburgersasu's base. Now hamburgersasu has complete control over his own base. Zealots are running away to the base into the middle, regrouping with more dragoons and zealots that kkangpae just finished warping in. And he's adding more gateways now, and hamburgersasu is already upgrading Transport Overlord. He's not going for Overlord speed, he's going for Transport. So that's already foreboding of what he's going to try. A lot of drones just finishing up. He's now ahead in drones again over kkangpae. kkangpae's got storm upgrade on the way. Another reaver finishes. He's got no shuttle to pick up the reaver, so he's gonna have to walk it all the way over. He's gonna make a second reaver. He's gonna make a pylon in his choke, so he's gonna be choking up. He's going for a more defensive play build now, because he knows that hamburgersasu is now in the position to go for a hard counterattack if kkangpae's next attack fails, or if he just gets really big really quickly. So hamburgersasu has two options. He can go for counterattacks or just get really big and defend himself for a little while longer. Whereas kkangpae has to start dealing damage now, or he has to start turtling and get big and deny hamburgersasu from retaliating. So this is really a game of chicken in my opinion. The player that moves first either gets a little bit of an advantage or they get counterattacked. So kkangpae is the first player to move. He's the first player to pull the trigger. hamburgersasu goes in for the Templar, doesn't get a shut up on the Templar. He gets a shut up on the other Templar with another group of Hydralists. The Templar goes down. Now he's going for the second Templar. The Templar gets a storm off, but not many Hydralists die to the storm, and the second Templar goes down. kkangpae realizes he has to pull back because he's lurkers walking in, lurkers burrowing themselves inside the choke. They unburrow immediately because the units of kkangpae have just retreated into the middle of the map, and he doesn't need them burrowed. He burrows and unburrows them again. Why? Right, so now he's loading them up into the overlords because the overlord transport option has finished. He moves them back into the choke, now he burrows them again, and kkangpae pulls back because he cannot fight into these lurkers because he doesn't have an observer. He does not have an observatory. So now he's going back to the overlords, he's going to load up the overlords. kkangpae just regrouping in the middle, keeping his units in a ball. He's got a bit of overmind there. He's going to have to want to spend those minerals very, very quickly. Right, so two cannons finishing right in the path where Sasu wants to fly his overlords in. But he still goes for it. He pulls her up. No, he goes for it anyway. He goes for it. Right, so he's going for the front. There's Reavers in the front, so these Hydralists get shut down in the front. They're just going to be there as a distraction to keep kkangpae focused on the attack there. But kkangpae doesn't fall for it, but kkangpae's response is too late because units are mispositioned, and now all the workers burrow. Killed 20 probes, killed 10 more probes, and 35 probes left for kkangpae. kkangpae now manages to finally get an observer out. You can see the lurkers. Lurkers go down. We did lose 30 probes in the process of that beautiful attack from hamburgersasu. hamburgersasu just going for the right move immediately. Doesn't waste any time. Immediately loads up lurkers and Hydralists and abuses the fact that kkangpae has his units out in the middle, which he could see with his overlord. And he punishes kkangpae for mislocating his units in the wrong spot on the map and gets his economy with his lurkers, and now he can very comfortably just add on units, build his base, do whatever the fuck he wants because he's got an economic lead over kkangpae. kkangpae now forced to be on the aggressive side. Though I would have loved to see him go for the defensive move. Instead, he goes in, gets 2 storms off, but he doesn't kill a lot of Hydralists. Now his Dragoons are exposed and weak. But Sasu decides to pull back, give kkangpae the chance to retreat his units back into the middle of the map, where kkangpae has thrown on a pylon. Are he going to make cannons there, or is he going to make robotic facilities? Not too sure what his thought process is. This entire game, he's been trying to do the right things, and Sasu has just managed to outmaneuver him at every single step that he tried to make. So really good play from hamburgersasu with the non-choke Zerg build, which is really, really hard to play. It takes so much mind, so much control, so much awareness and knowledge of how these units specifically interact. And great targets. He takes down the Templar again before the Templar can get a storm off. The second Templar is still alive, but he's cleared up a path. Now he can fly his overlords in over the section that he cleared out because the Dragoons were in the way. But kkangpae now decides to pull back because he saw the overlords moving, and the overlords do start dropping their units next to the main of kkangpae. kkangpae running his probes away really, really hastily because he doesn't want to lose any more probes again to a drop. A single lurker is in the mix. Lurker kills 8 probes, which is not as many as he'd hoped to kill. It's a really fortunate for kkangpae that he managed to survive that with most of his probes still alive, although he's got 11 probes up the top there that he's not moving. He's got a bunch of probes in his base that he isn't putting back on his minerals because he's focused on fighting you in the front, because hamburgersasu is threatening to kill pylon that is powering these robotic facilities. He gets the pylon down. So once again, kkangpae gets slowed down again, but this time somewhere else. Now his robotic facilities are unpowered. He cannot make reavers there. He doesn't even have the gas or the minerals to put those reavers in the first place. Probes in the top, still not being put back on the minerals. I don't think kkangpae is aware that those probes are there. And the fact that those probes are not mining minerals is really hurting his income, because that's 11 probes. Not mining really hurts, really hurts. So now kkangpae again going for the offensive move, which he shouldn't. He should be turtling, he should be defending, should be setting himself up to survive, not to attack. And in response, Sasu loaded up all these overlords with units, Hydralisks, Lurkers, Zerglings. Well, yes, Lurkers and Hydralisks. Hamburgersasu now going for the offensive move because he is big enough to afford a defensive move. kkangpae's minerals are still very low, still got probes there in the top. I think he's given up. Or he's not aware of it. Yeah, hamburgersasu now has his entire mass out in the middle, right in front of the choke of kkangpae. kkangpae repositions his dragoons in a zealot, goes for the attack, tries to keep hamburgersasu out, but hamburgersasu lands units on the hill, gives himself control over the choke, because this unit is harder to fire units on top of the hill. He now flies his overlords in behind the dragoons. Is he going for the main, or is he going to drop it on top? Alright, he's going to drop his units on top of the dragoons, the reavers, templars. He's getting a great surround off. He's moving his Hydralisk in between the dragoons, gets a great surround off, forces the dragoons to back off. The dragoons have nowhere to go. The dragoons are going to die with mass of Hydralisk attacking them from the front. And hamburgersasu now throwing out the BM spam, wins himself this game, because there's absolutely no way for kkangpae to make it back into this game, because there are so many units out here. His gateways are being attacked. His gateways are going to die before they can get another wave of units out from spawning. And the Hydralisk is just hammering away. hamburgersasu is still spamming. That's like a 10-minute, 15-second spam. Just whatever he's saying. And kkangpae storms his own probes. Alright, so he denies hamburgersasu the satisfaction. He's even attacking his own Nexus. He's attacking his... Yeah, kkangpae knows he's lost. He wants his Nexus to die before he leaves. There's a little bit of salt there. So yeah, he calls it GG, leaves. hamburgersasu pulls up the win with a pretty nice non-choke Zerg, in my opinion. Great micro, great target selection, great awareness, planning ahead into the future, setting up attacks, forcing kkangpae to focus on specific things where Sasu wants him to have his focus, so he can abuse where he isn't focusing. It's overall great play from hamburgersasu. Kudos, really love your Zerg. Great Zerg there, although you're still on just a lair, 17 minutes in. But you know, you don't need a hive when you're this far ahead over your Protoss enemy as the Zerg. So it's nice to see the tables turned on the Protoss for once. hamburgersasu now 3-1 ahead over kkangpae, wins the ZVP, won the PVZ, won a TVZ, lost the ZVG, and now it's time for game number 4, because this is a best of 7. Or maybe they're just going through all the possible matchups, like maybe it's the best of 6, where they're doing all the matchups, see who's the better player. And then they would probably have a deciding matchup in PvP afterwards. Not too sure. Just have to go in and cast the following replays. I'm sure the next 2 replays are going to be PvT and TVP, just to round out all the matchups, and then the last one is going to be PvP. But I'm not sure if this is going to go to game number 7 though, because hamburgersasu already won the CVP. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm going to cut this video off here, and I'm going to go into game number 5. Thanks for watching. See you in a bit.